Hi, I'm Nadine Aisha-Jassett, and welcome to this video from the National Library of Scotland's Fresh Ink initiative, where 10 emerging writers create and share new work on their experience of 2020. Suzy A. Kelly holds an MLit in creative writing distinction from the University of Glasgow. Their work is published in Gutter, Northwards Now, and New Writing Scotland. Suzy is currently a postgraduate research student and is working on their debut historical crime novel, Vile Deeds of the Amazing Crab Girl. Suzy's A Most Peculiar Way offers their story of the pandemic through space travel meets Zoom rooms, meets the power of everyday moments and human connection and raw emotion at its core. Expect smart humour, sharp-witted dialogue and observations, and clever imagery. Here's Suzy reading an extract from their piece, A Most Peculiar Way.
Mission Control announced Scotland's first fatality due to the new human pathogen today. So far, there have been 5,008 deaths across Earth since they discovered it in December. We monitor communications from aboard Serona 1. The shuttle has been our home for the last 105,120 hours. Collins, our pilot, sits to my right on the flight deck. He bites his lip, mulling over the bulletin. His skin is turning grey, like mine. His eyes are a nicotine yellow at the edges. Sweat films across his neck and forehead. A barking cough erupts from the depths of his chest at least 3 times every hour. With my own lungs, it's easier to count the rattling gasps between each hacking fit. So far, it's 15. The news from Earth repeats itself until one rotation period later, we too say that they had underlying health conditions, as if by chanting the words we could ward off our own deaths. Collins and I are on watch. Mission specialists Wolf and Purlott have retired to the mid-deck sleeping quarters below. Collins' little finger twitches, his knee bounces, but his focus doesn't stray beyond the heads-up display. You should rest, I tap his elbow to reassure him. I can take over. Collins glances across to me as if to object and then turns in his chair. Christ, what are your levels? Your lips are blue. I check the instruments. Temperature, 37.8 degrees. And oxygen saturation? SpO2 is at 89%. Tell Mission Control, says Collins, your body's failing. At 30 astronomical units, we're nearer Pluto than Earth. No, I say. Without lab tests or medicine, we'll either live or we won't, we say together. Severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, has taken 15,436 souls from Earth, 14 of them from Scotland. Collins and I are still recovering from the respiratory contagion aboard the Serona. Wolf and Purlott, I'm relieved to report, remain uncontaminated. As a precaution, Mission Control has cancelled all EVA, extravehicular activity, for 14 days, the suspected incubation period. My lungs feel like they've been booted out by a racehorse, I tell Collins by the galley. He sips his bag of rehydrated coffee. Mine feel like they've been mauled by a tiger. We grimace in commiseration, refusing to voice what might have been. Last week, we hung over our bunks like dying jellyfish, too feeble and breathless to float away, too exhausted to care. Rescue is unviable, advised Control. Collins and Purlott float the short distance to the equipment bay. As they service the waste management system, I check on Wolf. He smiles when I put my head through the flight deck hatch. Anything? I say. Wolf shakes his brown ponytail and yawns. I haul myself down the ladder that runs between each level and creep to the empty payload bay. My hiding place smells like charred metal, but I must steal 5 minutes alone. Triton is the largest and reddest of Neptune's 14 moons. The lunar surface itself is the colour of cold porridge. At minus 235 degrees, it's the coldest place in our solar system. Plant life is negligible. Soon we'll check for other life forms. I set my alarm and stress cry until the ringer goes off. 10 minutes later, I wash my hands. As I sing "Happy Birthday," I pretend to feel the heat of our sun against my cheek. $215,063 Earth souls lost. 1,332 in Scotland. We're prepping for our first extravehicular activity post-lockdown. Collins, Wolfe and I slither into the top and bottom halves of our extravehicular mobility units, the awkward pressurised space suits. We don communication caps, gloves, then helmets. Collins and Wolfe await my command. Purlock grooms himself on the flight deck. The airlock depressurises, the door clunks behind us and we brace ourselves against the tropospheric winds. I hate these days. The myalgic encephalomyelitis in my body means my nerves feel like they're being pricked by thousands of tiny pins. As we trudge towards the four-wheeled pressurised research module, all my muscle groups crunch, even weird ones like the masseter in my jaw. All 56 phalanges ache. The ridge at the join of the spacesuit blisters my neck every time I move. My lymph nodes swell and strangle me. As I plot our course, Collins steers me across the depressing, pitted terrain. Wolfe shouts at everything he sees. We pass a hairless land mammal further ahead. It sports a rectangular blue cloth around the underside of its jaw. The elastic ear loops form a stretchy bra hammock around its chin. Exposed to the elements, the mammal expectorates and a queue forms behind it. The dominant characters line themselves up at 2-metre intervals. They emit anxious, bobcat-like wails until unseen forces allow them to enter a large building dedicated to the mass procurement of rectal cleaning products. We return to the shuttle and hear an ancient London diarist on the Earth radio. Like us, he survived the terrors of the plague times, where it was illegal to open your doors to neighbours in need. $218,649 Earth souls lost. 1,415 in Scotland. After yesterday's excursion, I'm confined to the sleeping area. While the others fulfill their daily tasks, I recover in my bunk, worn out like a dismembered ragdoll. If I lean over the side, I'm convinced I'll see my stuffing torn out and scattered. My bones feel too heavy for my skin, like they might sink through it. Collins shoves the portable heads-up display into my lap, and in that moment, I hate him. The way he picks his teeth, his tastes in music, food, literature. Ugh. I say, my cabin fever kicking in. You'll feel better taking part, he says. You've got this. I'd rather scrub my fanny with wire wool, I say under my breath. With the equipment stowed, The mid-deck is mere feet wide, but it feels even smaller today, as if the aluminium sides are shrinking in on me, on all of us. Wolf and Purlot squabble by the galley, an arm's length away. Their back and forth exacerbates the gnawing tension in my skull. My lungs still feel dry and heavy from the infection, so I'm too wounded to reprimand them at full volume. Collins takes charge. He points at each culprit and shouts, "Wolf, enough. Purlot, go eat." Except for the creaking of the shuttle, peace reigns. Wolf follows Collins to the flight deck. Purlot perches on the end of my bunk. I'm unsure if his wicked smile is about getting Wolf censured or because he's eating a tuna sandwich. I click the meeting link. "Welcome to," chirps an earthbound Zoom administrator. "Fuck off." I mouth at the screen. "Everyone, turn your cameras." I slam the portable heads-up display shut. Not today.